Moez, Draief, Chief Data Scientist and VP of Data Science and Engineering at Capgemini. I have a great passion for the study of systems that operate at different spatial and temporal scales, which led me early in my career to the mathematical analysis of epidemics, a system with a mind-blowing complexity, as the current pandemic illustrates. In what follows, I will talk about epidemics as a scientist without delving into the heated debate and passionate considerations about the numbers and the measures put in place. Under reasonable assumptions, we can model the probability of the transmission of a virus from an infectious individual to a healthy one as the function of the interactions these individuals and the time they spend in close proximity. This function should capture biological considerations and can be calibrated from health data. Such a model provides the main building block of contact tracing, a means of tracking the trail of the virus. Traditional contact tracing relies on an infected individual's account of their whereabouts. Using technology to track the trail of infected individuals, and thus the viruses, can ease this painstaking process. Many contact tracing apps leverage Bluetooth to capture these contacts. More precisely, they rely on a mathematical formula that relates the received signal strength of the Bluetooth connection between two phones to the distance that separates them. Notwithstanding the technological and ethical questions that will be discussed by my colleague Jérôme Coignard and the webinar dedicated to contact tracing protocols, Bluetooth contact tracing provides an effective means of tracing back contamination chains from an infected person to other people with whom she has been in close proximity. This technology enables the identification of these infectious individuals early, much earlier than the traditional contact tracing approaches, leading to their isolation and avoiding further infection. Contact tracing is most effective when conducted alongside testing to identify infected individuals, especially when such individuals are asymptomatic, meaning do not show visible symptoms yet actively spread the virus. The design and deployment of tests is a non-trivial matter that cuts across many areas such as biology, drug manufacturing, supply chain, and technology. My colleague Etienne Grasse will dedicate his seminar to technologies enabling the reliable identification of infected individuals. Whenever testing resources are limited, the targeting of the individuals to test may require the definition of risk factors that identify the individuals to prioritize. For example, we could prioritize the most vulnerable members of our society and the individuals that put themselves at risk to ensure that the vital parts of our society keep functioning. The simple dynamics of the disease at the individual level can lead to a great deal of complexity when considered from a population dynamics viewpoint, capturing the evolution of the number of susceptible, exposed, infected, and immunized individuals over time. This microscopic level is the compass relied upon by health authorities and governments to devise public policies and the measures to implement them. Approaches to the study of epidemics rely on models of the average behaviors of the underlying individual dynamics described earlier. They offer a powerful tool to understand the trends of the epidemic by studying or simulating these dynamical systems. Equipped with these tools, decision makers can, for example, evaluate and compare various social distancing policies and settle for the ones that yield the desired outcome in the fight against the disease. The estimates of the parameters of these dynamical systems as the epidemic unfolds are prone to biases. More specifically, it is difficult to compute a sound estimate of the productive rate, a parameter that drives the advance of the epidemic prior to collecting a sizable sample of all the infections, which is not readily available at the outset of the epidemic. Despite the usefulness and predictive ability, these two viewpoints, individual or microscopic on one hand and the population or macroscopic on the other hand, cannot capture the mesoscopic structures or multi-scale view that reside in the communities a population is made of. These communities arise at multiple scales, from regions to cities to neighborhoods to smaller groups such as families, religious groups, sports clubs, where the individual behaviors are strongly coupled. They evolve at different timescales. If one individual is infected, then the community is bound to be infected in a rather short timescale. An efficient way to stop the disease from leaving a community is to quarantine the community as a whole, as you would do for an individual, and leave the rest of the population go on with their daily lives. This complex systems methodology opens up more differentiated approaches to tackling the spread of the epidemic, and are in part addressed in many of my research publications and a book on the topic that I wrote a few years ago. Please reach out if you want to further discuss some of the topics addressed above. Thank you for listening.